What's happening in North America? We are live from Palm Desert. You are watching North America Hockey Authority Live, and I am Craige Campbell with CoachellaValley.com, and I'm with my co-host, Ed Heethuis. He is the Coachella Valley Firebird off-ice official, and welcome today. I'm so excited to be here in our studio here in Palm Desert and getting ready for this amazing show. You know what? I think we should just start off, Ed. Well, you can say hello to everybody out here.
Well, hello, North America.
So we are filming on today's California, today's Canada, and CoachellaValley.com. So make sure that you check us out, and also let us know where you guys are watching from and where you're at. So let's start at History Matters, because let's just start from the very, very beginning.
Because history does matter, Craig. And I love hockey history. I've been fortunate enough to have participated in the sport since the late 60s. So,
as a goalkeeper. Did you do different positions, or were you always just a goalkeeper?
Goalkeeper, except for year number one. My father made me play defense for 1 year because he wanted me to have skating skills. He wanted me to have ice presence and to understand what other players were going through. But most of the time as a goalkeeper, and then lots of on-ice and now off-ice officiating as well.
Quick question for you. How did the puck come about? Like, really, what is the puck about?
Well, it's funny. In the very beginning of the game, Craig, the puck did not look like that. And it did not act like it. It did not stay flat. The original hockey puck back in the amateur days of the 1880s, the puck was actually a ball.
How old are you, Ed? I just wanted to throw that out real quick. 1880s. History
1880s, matters. Yeah. How was the play, Mr. Lincoln? No, no. But the puck was more. It was an actual ball, but it was very bouncy. And this wiffle ball is very bouncy. But 1880s, the Victoria Rink, Montreal, Canada. The owner of the building got tired of the ball leaving the playing surface during practices. Ball would leave the playing surface, bounce around, break windows, break doors, break everything. He got so mad, as the story goes, he literally cut one side and the other side off the ball, thereby giving us what is now the hockey puck. So that it would stay flat on the ice, not bounce up and break his windows.
So when did it kind of go into this rubbery, harder format that it's in? Because obviously a ball's going to bounce. That hard rubber puck does not bounce that much.
Well, I'm glad you asked. The original hockey pucks back in the 1870s, 1880s was frozen cow dung. And a puck only lasted one game because by the end of the game it was either too soft or too hard to be operational. It moved into a rubber substance. It was actually, the original pucks were two pieces of rubber glued together.
Interesting.
It caused problems because if the puck hit the post, it could sometimes split into two pieces.
Would you get two goals if they both went in at the same time?
I do believe, if I recall correctly, if the larger piece went in,
it's a goal.
It's a goal.
But if the smaller piece didn't?
Right. So at the next whistle, that would cause a whistle, but you'd have to take the two pieces and figure out which one was actually larger.
Very, very cool. I love it. Well, anyway, you also know those hockey pucks, when did they start freezing them? The very first time that you were walking on the ice and probably coming out of the penalty box, and you were cruising through, and I was shooting with my camera through the little plexiglass holes, which we'll get into at some point on my what I need to be doing down there. And you walked by and handed me a puck, and that thing was so cold, it was frozen. I was totally surprised. Probably one of the first things I learned. Why do they freeze them? They freeze them. They literally keep them in a bucket of frozen.
So the puck is made of vulcanized rubber, and while it's not bouncy, it's also somewhat bouncy, and you don't want bouncing during a hockey game. You want the puck to stay as flat on that ice surface as possible. So they're put in a deep freeze for at least a day before the game, and then they're kept either on ice or in a freezer in the home penalty box for Firebird games. And by freezing them, that enables the puck to not bounce when the official drops it for a face-off. And they practice this. They practice this for hours, dropping so the puck is absolutely flat and doesn't bounce up and screw up the face-off.
Hey guys, if you're just tuning in, you are watching the North American Hockey Authority live. We're on Today's California, also on Today's Canada and Coachella Valley. We're live in Palm Desert in our studios here with my co-host Ed Heethuis, and I'm Craige Campbell with CoachellaValley.com. You know what? Let's go on to a rules segment, because rules are something. The whole idea behind this show is to elevate your hockey IQ. So we'll bring in these short segments and kind of educating you on some things and learn some stuff ourselves. And in the meantime, let us know where you're watching from. If you have any comments at all, any suggestions or ideas, whether you're watching live right now or in the future, just put them in the comments and we'll make sure to reply and give you some information back. So let's do a rules segment. Talk to me a little bit about that.
Well, rules are almost more important than history because there's no way to govern a game or a people without rules. So I hearken back to, gosh, this is always going back to my childhood. This is great. 1973, NBC started doing the NBC Game of the Week on Saturdays at noon. And hockey at that point in time had expanded in 1968 past the original 6. And they got into some markets where people weren't generally hockey fans. They moved south to places like St. Louis and out west to Los Angeles and Oakland.
We're in Coachella Valley, it's the desert, and this is the first time we've had AHL hockey here. And so obviously, big education, a lot of us learning the different rules and things that are going on. You have a couple of video segments, though, I think, for us.
I do. So NBC, realizing that they had a whole new audience that didn't know hockey rules, contracted the Hanna-Barbera studios. They're the ones who put out Fred Flintstone, Scooby-Doo, and they did Peter Puck. And we're going to do the first episode of Peter Puck. We'll cut it in half so we can discuss.
Yeah, I think we're going to talk about the what starts at the beginning, the puck drop. We got that video or no video? No video right now?
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll have to bring that back next time. We appreciate you guys watching the very great segments, so we'll make sure we put them up there and put them on. They're fun animated things. We got copyright permission for it, and I know you guys will really enjoy that. So, well, why don't we just move on to your pet peeves? Ed's pet peeves of the week. I mean, this would be a great opportunity right here that the video doesn't work. But that's not your pet peeve for this weekend.
I love doing hockey EDU on my Facebook page. And so on Firebird game days, I generally post hockey slang, some chirps, and some education stuff. And my pet peeve this week, okay, so we had the opening game for the Firebirds, home opener.
Friday the 13th.
Friday the 13th. And as was a tradition during the entire inaugural season, the team would play John Denver's Country Road.
Even in preseason.
In the third period. Well, come opening night, no Country Road. This guy is a little upset about that. But it's not my job to tell them how to run games. But my real pet peeve this week, everybody who's commented on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, it's not country roads, people. It's country road. There's one country road, not multiples. So, in the future, if we could just clean that up a little bit.
Spoken like a good off-ice official. Let's talk about on and off-ice official real quick. I deviate. Explain a little bit about what an off-ice official really is and different capacities that they operate in.
Certainly. I work off ice because unlike 20 years ago, when I had 2 good knees and a left knee and a right knee, I now have a bad knee and a worse knee. So you have 4 officials on the ice for a hockey game, 2 referees, they've got the orange bands, 2 linesmen, They run the blue lines. To support those guys and allow them to call a game efficiently, it takes off-ice officials, people to work with them in order to support the game. So, for example, you've got a guy in each penalty box, a penalty box attendant, opens the doors, closes the doors for the players, keeps an eye on the time, tells the players when to leave. Between the two penalty box attendants, you've got the scorer's table. So you've got one guy running the clock, another guy doing the score sheet, and he's usually on headsets communicating with the off-ice officials that are upstairs. And we'll get to them in just a second because there's two more off-ice officials at ice level, one behind each net. They're called goal judges.
Now, are they the ones that actually hit the light as well?
Mm-hmm. Puck goes in the net, push the button, red light goes on, guy across the arena spills his beer. It's a beautiful.
I love it.
It's a beautiful segue.
I always wondered if one of those off-ice officials, when the puck was on the other side, accidentally hit their button, because they just hold on to a little thing. It's like this, and you could just see if something got bumped or whatever, they might hit that. What would happen if the light goes off? Do they lose their job when the puck's at, say, the other end of the ice?
I wouldn't say they'd lose their job, but I wouldn't want to be that guy. And for what it's worth, when I'm goal judge and it's at the other end of the ice,
yeah, your fingers off.
That's in my pocket. I can't even touch it.
Yeah, but then it's in your pocket and you bump something. I walk by you, and the light goes off. It's possible. There's not a lot of room down there.
We try not to put negative thoughts in
off-ice
official heads.
But I will tell you that those officials down there share that area with photographers, videographers, and other engineers and stuff, and cables, and so it can get a little tight down there.
It does get tight.
That's why it's really important for the media crew to get to know everybody down there, including the off-ice officials, the ice crew, and everybody else, because we're all in that space together, and there you go. So off-ice official.
Correct.
Both ends of the hockey, and then are there more?
There are more. This year, if you happen to look up in section 121 at Acrisure Arena, you'll see a 20-foot table with anywhere between 8 and 11 guys in suits, and they're also acting in a support role. You have one person tracking plus minus for the opposing team, one plus minus for the home team. Two folks that do what we call puck tracking, and they literally track every person to touch the puck in order, so that when a goal is scored, in theory, you just work backwards and you get the primary and secondary assist. So that's 6 people right there. And then in case there's a tip or a question about a goal, the gentleman next to them has a computer and he's the video confirmation. He can replay, look for tips, look for tip shots, and look for additional assists or corrections.
I don't think a lot of people know about off-ice officials, and I think it's a great explanation. Of course, we'll get more into it because it's literally your job there for the Coachella Valley Firebirds, which is our local AHL affiliate, the Kraken, Seattle Kraken counterpart, AHL here. And we are going to do a Firebird segment because it's obviously our home team here. For the very first year, the rookie year, inaugural year, our Coachella Valley Firebirds went all the way to the Calder Cup final, lost it in the 7th game at home against the Hershey Bears in Game 7 in overtime. It was just one of the hardest losses, and of course, we're just revamping, coming back now. We've had 2 preseason games. We did lose our opener, which was very difficult, Friday 13th, but we just came back and won our first game 4-0, so shutout for our amazing goalkeeper. And we have a couple games coming up.
We do. We've got a game coming up Wednesday, the 25th.
Mm-hmm. And who are we playing?
I believe they're Ontario Reign.
Yeah, that's right. Ontario Reign, right? Uh-huh.
Our I-10 counterparts. They're only 75 miles away. They're the farm team for the Los Angeles Kings.
Kind of been labeled as the I-10 showdown because we are just down the street. And a lot of times there's a big contingent of Reign fans that will join and kind of get involved, which I think makes it even more competitive, and within the crowd, it really is kind of a fun showdown, I-10 showdown. And then we come back on Halloween, the 31st.
Halloween.
Now that's going to be fun. Got some special jerseys for the Firebirds. We've seen them. They light up. They've got a lot of really neat things. Who are we playing then? It's a Canadian team, I believe.
Tuesday Halloween game is the Abbotsford Canucks, the Vancouver Canuck farm team.
There you go. So AHL team. You know, one of the things that we've talked about on farm teams or the minor league, the AHL and the NHL really play simultaneously. They do their seasons in conjunction with one another. And in fact, they do their playoffs, the Calder Cup playoffs, along with the Stanley Cup at the same time, because the Kraken, in our particular case, actually have the contracts with all the Firebirds, and those Firebirds can move up and down, and we can have NHL players move down into AHL. So you really see it. It's almost like if you think about football, you know, you'll have the practice teams, and in this case, they really are an extension of the AHL rosters, those AHL teams. So it's quite a unique setup. You know, football does not have a minor league. Of course, baseball does too. But you don't have a lot of AAA moving up and down and back and forth. Really,
Not like hockey.
Not like hockey. So it's a very integrated thing, very, very exciting. And as a result, you know, you get a tremendous amount of NHL fan base as well, you know, Kraken and otherwise, just because of the duality. So we didn't make it all the way to the Calder Cup. I don't know. It'll be very difficult as AHL teams change so much just because they are moving up and down and maybe being traded and things like that. So every AHL team seems to be highly unique. Of course, our goalies changed already, things like that are high, you know, really important. You know, the front lines, the second lines, the third lines, all of those have been changed. And so you can imagine the job of a coach on an AHL team and just how things are constantly changing, being able to integrate or not. It's got to be a very unique coaching experience, and it's really an incredible league. So that's our Firebird segment. We're about done. We're going to wrap up here soon, but let's get into the snipes and chirps section.
So
what does it even mean?
So
this
was
your idea.
Hockey players have their own language, and when they talk to each other on the bench, or even better, to each other on the ice, derogatory compliments are referred to as snipes, and the act of doing it is referred to as chirping. So, for example, if I'm in the net, guy comes in, guy's trying to screen me, he gets a pass, he fumbles the pass, he gets away a weak shot, I make the save, I cover it up. I look up at him and I go, dude, I've seen better hands on a digital clock.
And that would be a snipe or a chirp.
And a very clean one.
So I have a quick question. Can a fan snipe and chirp? Because I am telling you, I have heard some serious commentary from the fans. It's so funny. I mean, in so many ways, it's so intense, and yet there's a humor element, even though it can be a little ugly at times. Now, can a fan snipe and chirp too? Is it considered the same, or is it only players that get fans?
Fans actually can do more sniping than players can, because fans will involve my friends, the officials on the ice, with their sniping.
So, you know, as a photographer and having gone to many of those games, we're right there, you know, with the glass, and it's all happening in front of us, and it's hard as a media guy, because when it's your team that you've been covering for all those times, of course you begin to fall in love with everybody and you know everybody. And I tell you, I think there could be a snipe and chirp that even comes out of my mouth from time to time, because it's just, you're so wanting to be involved in everything. So I think even the media guys can snipe and chirp. The officials can't.
I can't. I am Switzerland.
until you leave. Because I know when we're driving in the car on the way back home, you might have some ideas.
You know, I got to tell you, from the time I get dressed for a game, when I put on the tie, that AHL tie and the suit coat, it's a reminder that I'm Switzerland and I'm neutral. And until I take that tie off, I wouldn't say poop if I had a mouthful of it, because it's my job to be neutral.
Well, that just takes us to our final segment of tonight. You guys are watching the North American Hockey Authority live in our studios in Palm Desert. My name is Craige Campbell with CoachellaValley.com, and I am here with Ed Heethuis. He is an off-ice official for the Coachella Valley Firebirds in the AHL.
By episode 5, that's going to flow.
Our final. Oh, and the whole idea is elevating your hockey IQ. That's
Absolutely.
what we're doing here. But that's why this last segment is so irrelevant. Point counterpoint. And we're talking mascots and cheerleaders, which I don't think we have seen.
There aren't really technically a lot of cheerleaders.
You didn't want them. You told me no cheerleaders. Charlie's our engineer. He's sitting here. We'll bring Charlie in on other segments for sure. We were thinking that maybe cheerleaders are other elements than just mascots. We have Fuego, but maybe there should be other ideas. You didn't like that so much.
Sometimes my age shows.
20, 21.
I've been called a boomer more than once, and I've begun to embrace the phrase. As it turns out, there's been a proliferation of ice girls.
Ice girls.
So a lot of the southern teams,
like ice crew girls.
Ice crew girls.
So the ice crew, of course, cleans up the ice during the period and
they scrape
the
the ice 3 times a period,
and on. And so they're bringing more and more ice females into those teams. Is what
correct.
You're saying.
Yeah, and as an entertainment factor.
I got you. Interesting. Very interesting.
And I'm not opposed to that. I'm even beyond neutral. There's nothing wrong with that. The thing is, the idea of organized cheerleading going on in the stands, I don't see it as a fit for today's game.
Interesting. Well, the mascot seems to cover a lot of area. Maybe they need more than one. Maybe we could have little Fuego, bigger Fuego, or other ones. I don't know. Just because of the change of pace might kind of be fun. I'm not really sure. So that's my counterpoint. Is I actually do think that we need other things because in between periods can be long. Even during the ice cleaning, the Zambonis come on the ice. There's a lot of course, people take a break and get something to drink and those types of things. But it does sometimes feel like we could just use some additional entertainment during those segments. And it's not uncommon in other sports, obviously, to see that happening. Both mascots and cheerleaders and drummers and horses and all kinds of things in football. And I think that's just because of the downtime that ends up happening. So maybe something that could be considered.
I'm going to move slightly to your side on the mascots. I think not only kids, there are adults that find our Fuego very entertaining.
Absolutely.
He's like a spicy Cheeto version of the San Diego chicken.
Yeah, that's my description right off my tongue. That's what I was thinking.
I'm kind of looking for a Cheeto sponsorship here, so you never know. Love the Flamin' Hots.
I like it too. Hey guys, we're going to let you go. You are watching live North American Hockey Authority live here in Palm Desert. I'm Craige Campbell for CoachellaValley.com. We're streaming on Coachella Valley YouTube, Coachella Valley Twitter, Coachella Valley Facebook. We're also streaming on Today's California Facebook and opportunity to be streaming on Today's Canada.com, which take you over to the Facebook page. Make sure you tell us where you're watching from, whether now or whether you're watching this on replay later. Any comments that you might have, give us your ideas and suggestions. This is our inaugural show, and we thank you so much for joining us. And we'll be back at you guys probably midweek. We're going to work out our schedule and get a little bit more specific for you guys, and you'll know when to come and join us. So we've had a great time. It's been a great time, Ed. I appreciate it. And Charlie, thank you so much for putting us together here. And we'll talk to you guys next time.
Thanks for inviting me, Craig, and send me those chirps, snipes. I want to see them in the comments.
Talk to you guys next time.
Toodles.